time capsules, a quirky high school project, or a powerful tool for personal growth. Today we're diving into how this simple practice might just revolutionize the way we think about our future selves and gratitude.
Oh, that's an intriguing concept. What sparked your interest in this topic?
Well, I recently stumbled upon an old letter I'd written to my future self back in high school. It was tucked away in a shoebox, and reading it was like getting a message from my past self through a time machine. The experience was surprisingly emotional and eye-opening.
That must have been quite a surreal moment. What kinds of things did teenage you write about?
It was a mix of dreams, fears, and aspirations. Some were way off base, like my plan to become a professional skateboarder touring the world. But others, it's wild how some things I wished for actually came true. I wanted to work in a creative field, and here I am doing exactly that.
It's fascinating how our past selves can sometimes predict our futures. You know, what you've described is actually a structured psychological technique called the time capsule technique.
Really? So people are doing this intentionally now? Because mine was just a random high school assignment.
Oh, absolutely. It's gaining traction in personal development circles. The idea is to deliberately write down your dreams, goals, and plans, seal them up, and set a specific date to open them. Some people do it annually, others go for 5 or even 10 years.
But here's what I don't get. Why not just keep a regular journal or make notes in your phone? What makes the time capsule aspect so special?
Well, it's all about the psychological impact of that future opening date. When you know you're writing something that won't be read for years, you tend to be more honest and vulnerable. There's no immediate audience, not even yourself.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. It's like setting up a meeting with your future self, and you can't go back and edit or sugarcoat things. I remember being brutally honest in my letter about my insecurities and fears, stuff I probably wouldn't have put in a regular diary.
Exactly. And you know what pairs really well with this technique? Conscious gratitude practice.
Oh man, is this going to be about those gratitude journals everyone's posting about on social media? Because I've tried those, and they always felt a bit forced, like I was just going through the motions.
I get that, but conscious gratitude is different. Instead of just listing what you're thankful for, it's about actively analyzing your achievements and acknowledging the people who helped you get there. It's more about relationships than things.
You know, that reminds me, when I opened my old letter, I was surprised by how many people I'd mentioned. Teachers, friends, even my neighbour who used to let me practice guitar in his garage. I never really told any of them how much their support meant to me back then.
That's exactly what makes conscious gratitude so powerful. It's about recognizing those connections and their lasting impact on our lives. Studies have shown that practicing gratitude can significantly improve mental health and overall life satisfaction.
I can see how combining these two practices could create something really meaningful. The time capsule helps you dream big and set intentions, while the gratitude practice helps you appreciate the journey and the people who make it possible. It's like creating a roadmap with acknowledgements built in.
And the research backs that up. A study published in the Journal of Positive Psychology found that combining future-oriented thinking with gratitude practices led to increased optimism and life satisfaction over time.
This conversation is really making me want to write a new letter to my future self. But this time I think I'll be more intentional about it. Maybe include specific sections for dreams, fears, and gratitude. And definitely set a specific date to open it, rather than just stumbling across it years later.
That's such a thoughtful approach. How would you decide on the time frame?
I've been thinking about that. Maybe multiple capsules with different timeframes would work best. Like, one for next year, with specific actionable goals, another for 5 years, with broader career and personal aspirations, and maybe even one for 10 years down the road, focusing on life vision and legacy.
The multiple time frame approach is brilliant because it allows you to track different types of growth and change. It's like creating a personal growth portfolio.
And I'm thinking about the format too, maybe including some photos or small meaningful objects. Not just letters, something tangible to connect with the memories and emotions of this current moment. What do you think about including things like ticket stubs or small mementos?
Those physical artifacts can definitely add another dimension to the experience. They become powerful triggers for memories and emotions when you eventually open the capsule. It's like creating a multi-sensory time machine for your personal growth.
You know what's really interesting about this whole concept? It's almost like creating a deliberate time machine for personal growth. We're so caught up in the daily grind that we rarely take time to think about where we're heading and who's helping us get there.
That's such an insightful way to look at it. The combination of future planning and present gratitude creates this beautiful bridge between who we are and who we want to become. It's a practice that's deeply rooted in many spiritual traditions too.
Oh really? How so?
Well, many spiritual practices emphasize the importance of both visioning the future and expressing gratitude. In Buddhism, for example, there's a concept called bhavana, which means to cultivate or to develop. It's about intentionally cultivating positive mental states and envisioning your ideal self.
That's fascinating. So this isn't just a modern self-help trend, but something with deeper roots.
Exactly. And in many indigenous cultures, there are rituals that involve setting intentions for the future while honoring ancestors and expressing gratitude for the present. It's a holistic view of time and personal growth.
You know, in this digital age where everything is instant and editable, there's something really powerful about creating something permanent and unchangeable. Once you seal that capsule, those thoughts and feelings are preserved exactly as they were in that moment.
That permanence is what makes it so authentic and meaningful when you finally open it. It's a snapshot of your past self, unfiltered and honest.
I think I'm going to make this a regular practice. Maybe every New Year's Day, I'll write a new letter and open one from the past. Create this ongoing dialogue with myself while keeping track of the people who've impacted my journey.
That's a beautiful way to maintain perspective and gratitude throughout your life journey. And who knows, maybe in 10 years, you'll open a capsule and find out you've become that professional skateboarder after all.
Ha! Well, maybe I'll include it in the 10-year capsule. Never say never, right? After all, the whole point is to dream big and be authentic. Maybe I'll just add a skateboarding hobby to my 5-year plan instead of making it a career goal. Baby steps.
Well, that's exactly what this practice is about, balancing big dreams with realistic steps. As we wrap up, what do you think is the biggest takeaway from our discussion on time capsules and gratitude?
I think the key is that it's not just about setting goals or being thankful. It's about creating a dialogue between your past, present, and future selves. It's a way to track your growth, honor your journey, and recognize the people who've helped you along the way. And in doing so, you're not just planning for the future, but also appreciating the present and learning from the past.
Beautifully said. It's a holistic approach to personal growth that has the potential to really enrich our lives and relationships. And who knows, maybe this conversation will inspire some of our listeners to start their own time capsule and gratitude practice.
Absolutely. And hey, if any of you out there do decide to give it a try, we'd love to hear about your experience. Who knows what insights you might uncover about yourself? Mantras are experiencing a remarkable revival in Silicon Valley, with tech executives reporting a 300% increase in meditation practice adoption over the past year, showing how one specific Sanskrit chant is transforming modern approaches to success.
That's fascinating, especially how the Ganesha mantra combined with 396 Hz frequency is gaining traction in corporate wellness programs.
You know what's really interesting? Studies show that sustained exposure to 396 Hz frequency can actually alter brainwave patterns and reduce cortisol levels by up to 27%.
Well, that explains why it's becoming so popular in stress management. How does the traditional aspect of the mantra play into these modern applications?
The Sanskrit phrase Gam Ganapataye Namaha has been used for over 3,000 years, and recent neuroscience research suggests that rhythmic Sanskrit chanting activates areas of the brain associated with focused attention and decision-making.
So it's like we're finding scientific validation for ancient wisdom.
Exactly. And here's what's really compelling. A 2022 study found that people who practiced this specific mantra with the 396 Hz frequency showed a 42% improvement in decision-making tasks compared to control groups.
That's incredible. But I'm curious about how this translates to real-world applications.
Well, let me share something interesting. Major tech companies are now incorporating these practices into their executive training programs. One Fortune 500 CEO reported that after implementing daily mantra meditation, their team's project success rate increased by 35%.
Oh wow, that reminds me of the traditional belief about protection from failure. How does that aspect work in modern context?
So here's the fascinating part. Psychological research suggests that the combination of the mantra and frequency creates what's called a stress-resilient mindset. It's not about preventing failure, but rather developing a neural framework that processes challenges differently.
You know, that actually aligns perfectly with what neuroscientists are discovering about neuroplasticity and stress response.
And get this, EEG studies show that when people chant this mantra at 396 Hz, their brain exhibits patterns similar to those seen in experienced meditators with over 10,000 hours of practice.
That's like a shortcut to deep meditative states.
Exactly. And here's where it gets even more interesting. The vibration of 396 Hz has been shown to resonate with the root chakra frequency, which traditional wisdom has long associated with stability and grounding.
So we're seeing this beautiful convergence of ancient knowledge and modern science.
Yes, and what's particularly noteworthy is how this practice affects decision-making. A recent study tracked 100 executives over 6 months. Those who incorporated this practice showed a 58% improvement in strategic planning outcomes.
That's remarkable data. How do you see this evolving as we move further into the digital age?
Well, looking at current trends, we're seeing the development of AI-powered apps that can actually measure the coherence between your chanting and the 396 Hz frequency. Some predictions suggest that by 2025, over 40% of Fortune 1000 companies will incorporate some form of frequency-based meditation in their wellness programs.
The integration of technology with these ancient practices is quite something to witness.
And you know what's really promising? The accessibility factor. Unlike traditional meditation, which might take years to master, this specific combination of mantra and frequency shows measurable benefits within just 30 days of consistent practice.
That really does make it more approachable for modern practitioners.
Looking ahead, researchers are now exploring how this practice might be used in everything from educational settings to space travel stress management. NASA is actually conducting studies on frequency-based meditation for long-duration space missions.
Now that's something I never would have expected from ancient temples to space stations.
And here's what might be the most important takeaway. In a world where burnout and decision fatigue are reaching epidemic levels, we're rediscovering tools that have stood the test of time while being completely compatible with modern scientific understanding.
That really brings everything full circle, ancient wisdom meeting future needs.
As we wrap up, consider this. The same principles that helped ancient practitioners remove obstacles and make wise decisions are now being validated by quantum physics and neuroscience. Maybe the real breakthrough isn't in discovering something new, but in finally understanding something very, very old.